So a couple of weeks ago, I put out an episode on meditation. It's a staple in my morning routine, and it's been something that I've been doing in my life for many, many years now. For most, meditation is hard when you first start. You feel as if your thoughts are all over the place. You may also feel like it's a waste of time, right? We could be doing something else with this 10, 15 minutes that we're spending here just sitting. And the thing that I find most people have in common with is the fact that they don't know whether or not they're doing it right. Many conversations I had with numerous family members, my wife, they all said the same thing. I don't really know if I'm doing it. By the way, this is not just for beginners. People that have been meditating for many, many years can find themselves feeling the same exact way. I believe meditation is so important for so many aspects. I feel like it's a crucial part of upgrading yourself and becoming the best version of yourself because of the fact that it has so many benefits, not just mental, obviously, but emotional and physical. You truly get to know who you are and the way you think by sitting there and just being alone with your thoughts. So if you're having trouble meditating, maybe you're in a funk, or it's really your beginning stages of meditation and you really want to start the journey right, what I'm going to do today is list out 3 different ways that I have not only dissected my meditation sessions, but strategies that has helped me kind of get back on track. Number 1, you have to realign the meaning behind why you're choosing to meditate. So if you have decided to start meditating because you really want this ultimate Zen clarity to come rushing in to your mind and body and spirit and have all these amazing lasting effects on your life, then we really need to realign that meaning, because that unfortunately is most likely not going to happen. Meditation is not something that magically changes your life overnight. It's a practice. It's something that you do every single day. And for me, it's something that I stumbled upon organically. When I was studying in Belgium and living there for a year, that was my breakthrough year in my life for so many different aspects. And I just decided to start meditating because I've heard about all the benefits and I knew that it was going to be good for me. And I didn't really necessarily look into too many things about it. I did a couple of guided meditations, but ultimately I got to a point where it was my first thing at that point in my life. It was the first thing that I do in my morning routine. I'd wake up and I was so excited to start my day. I was so excited to live in my purpose, that what I was doing there and making music and doing all this stuff, that I'd actually beat my alarm clock and I'd have all this energy and I just kind of would sit up and I might, go to the bathroom or something, get some water, but I would sit on the edge of the bed and I would almost immediately fall into a complete clear-minded Zen-like state for about 20 minutes or so. I can tell you that I don't think I will ever be able to get back and enjoy that type of clarity in my life because of the fact that I was there for a year and I put pretty much every other aspect of my life on hold. I put my family, I put my girlfriend, now wife, basically on hold, and thank God she held. I put, any type of real career development on hold, everything. And all I was doing was just practicing and making music all day long. That's literally all I was doing. I was making great plans for when I came back and starting businesses and all these things. And I was so happy. Even more importantly, I wasn't really... I was in a French-speaking country. Belgium, the part I was in, was a French-speaking country, French-speaking part, and I didn't really know French that well. I tried to learn as best I could, but I got to the point where I kind of just started zoning everybody out, and I'd have like earbuds in, I'd be listening to podcasts and stuff. So I was having very, very little social interactions with very few people. So I became so insular, and I was so in my head. Basically, I went through every possible thought and I just was on my mission. That's why I don't think I'll ever get there. But of course, meditation is a practice. It's not a state. It's a practice that you do every day to develop and possibly bring some of that mindfulness into your everyday schedule, and more importantly, to ultimately have those moments of somewhat, some type of clarity in the moment. The way I like to think about it, the meaning behind my meditation, why I choose to meditate, is an extremely simple one. And I basically think of it as a hygienic part of my routine for my mind. Just like you would brush your teeth. It's not something special you have to think about. You just brush your teeth because it's a hygienic part of your daily routine. And that's how I do it. It's a hygienic part of my daily routine for my mind, not necessarily for my body, but also for my body. Number 2, reassess your physical environment. So if you're having some troubles getting started, and or if you're having troubles all of a sudden randomly meditating, you may want to switch it up. If you're sitting, you may want to actually try standing. If you're standing, you may want to try laying down. If you have your hands on your knees, you may want to try to do this thing with your fingertips. If you have your hands folded, you might want to have your hands at the side. If you're sitting on a meditation pillow, you may want to try no pillow. You may want to try a different pillow. If you're in one room of the house, you may want to try a different room of the house. I can go on all day with talking about the different types of physical settings that you want to put yourself in, but the biggest thing is you have to experiment. You have to try different things. You have to try different times of the day, maybe. This is a test for what works best for you, because ultimately you're different than I am. Number 3, and what I think is the most important by far in this list, is you absolutely need to implement a capture strategy. Now, I've talked about capture strategies many times in the past. A capture strategy is a fundamental part of the Ritual Design Planner, and it's a fundamental part of productivity and personal development. David Allen from GTD, Getting Things Done, was probably the first, and all of us in this world kind of know that he kind of coined that phrase to capture things. And the concept is simply to capture all of the things that are primarily, for this case, in our head, and get them out of our head somehow, whether it's your iPhone, whether it's a piece of paper, whether it's a notebook, whether it's a laptop, whether it's an app, whatever it is. We have to get all of the thoughts out of our head. And the problem is, that's a huge, when you really think about it, that's a huge process. Because think about all the things that are floating around in our head. Our daily to-do, what we have to do tomorrow, what we have to do next week. Those are just to-dos. Then we have to think about our goals and the things that we want to accomplish in our life. Then we have to think about the problems that we're facing with people at work or people in our family. And then we have to think about the menial tasks we have to do around the house and all of these things that are constantly in our head, that either we don't have a way to schedule them or we don't have a way to decipher them. But ultimately, if you have never implemented a capture strategy, I would actually recommend reading Getting Things Done by David Allen, because this goes so much deeper than the things that are just in our head. Because say you take an hour and you take a piece of paper and you write down everything that's possibly in your head, and then all of a sudden you go down to meditate and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I gotta pay that bill. That wasn't in your head. That wasn't a thought. You forgot about it. The reason is because there's a junk pile of a couple of bills that have to be paid, some papers that need to be filed. So my point here is that David Allen goes into all the things in your physical environment, and he has a whole physical way to capture things, not only mental, but what's in your space and what's in your digital capture life. So really, it does take a long process. And if you don't want to go through reading that book, what I would recommend is just literally take an entire afternoon. Go to a coffee shop, grab your laptop, take 3 hours and do all the things that's in your head, all the projects, all the things you want to accomplish in your life. I mean, everything. At least just get it down on paper. You don't even have to organize it. Then organize your entire computer, all your files, all your pictures, everything you could possibly organize to get everything cleaned up. And then when you come home, do your physical space, at least your workspace. Come down in your office or wherever you work and organize everything. If there's papers, file them. If you need a filing system, make one. You have to get everything cleared out, because at the end of the day, if we have things that might creep into our mind, it's just a really beautiful welcome mat for them to come in when you're sitting there trying to meditate. And even if you have a system like myself, at one point I had every single thing perfectly not only organized, but clear and focused, and I had direction for all of the things that I wanted to make happen. But guess what? Time comes and things happen. People, we go through crises in our lives, and we have babies, and we get married, all these things, right? And certain things slip and certain things start to unravel. So for me, I have to spend a good amount of time reorganizing my digital life, and I have to make sure that I have everything set in my how I use the planner, right? So basically what I do, not to go into it too deep, but I use a digital capture system on my phone as a temporary capture system. So I write down anything I think of on a notes app, and the goal is to every single night get that out. But, if I'm meditating and I realize I haven't necessarily done that, it may be so subconscious, and that thing that I wrote down may creep in, or that thing that gave me that burst of energy and that burst of creativity then may welcome all these different creative assets and things that may, creative ideas that may happen while I'm meditating. So there is a lot, as you can see, that can creep in to our meditation sessions. It is a practice. It's something that should be done every single day, because when do you skip an entire day brushing your teeth? When do you not take a shower? Hopefully, very infrequently. But the same thing goes with this, and it works even more so like learning a musical instrument. If you do it consistently every single day, you will see more and more benefits as time goes on. If you do it 5 days a week, you'll see some benefits, but those 2 days a week will really set you back. And ultimately, the more consistent you are, the better you will be at actually feeling like you're doing something. So if you liked today's episode, please hit like and consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell notification to be notified of the next episode. And I will see you next week here on Upgrade My Rituals.